When building a business, it is easy to be blinded by the big measures of success. Becoming the #1 used product in your market, creating a brand name that resonates with millions, developing an industry-leading service. But for Glenn Gonzales, success is as simple as checking 2 key boxes.
Defining success is fairly simple for us. The first step of that is, number one, we have to operate safely. If we're not operating safely, we will not have customers. The next thing we have to do is make sure that people are happy. How do we make sure that people are happy? Listen to them, understand their needs, be compassionate and empathetic to what's going on in their world, and make sure to be there.
Glenn is an Air Force Academy graduate, a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force Reserves, and the co-founder and CEO of JetIt, a hybrid ownership program that provides customers with access to round-the-clock private travel. In Glenn's 40 years of aviation experience, finding long-term success isn't about scaling and scaling fast. It's about staying true to your core values and focusing on delivering an amazing customer experience, one plane ride at a time. There are always exciting things happening in the world of small business. The news that grabs the headlines, though, are always the highlights, the overnight successes, the billion-dollar IPOs, the massive exits. But just like your Instagram feed, that's never the whole story. Let's look deeper than the headlines and the press photos. Underneath all of that is the real work building something valuable and lasting. Don't get me wrong, I love crazy success stories and can be drawn into those big flashy tales just as much as the next person. But we all know that what's more important than the destination is how you get there. It's the struggles you have to overcome and the insights you learn along the way that make you who you are. So those are the stories we're telling. It's raw, it's honest, and maybe it's exactly what you need to hear. I'm Hillary Georgie, and this is The Journey. Glenn grew up in a working-class family with big dreams, but not much of an idea about how to reach those great heights.
As a young person, you never really know what's out there. I was very much a big dreamer. I didn't know where my dreams would take me. I kind of understood the end goal and the end game that I was after, and never really understood or had a deep knowledge of what that would entail or what it would cost to make it happen.
While Glenn wasn't much of a step-by-step planner, he was an expert improviser. He was eager to learn and didn't let any interaction or experience go to waste.
My parents were my first, if you would, mentors, but I also learned at a very young age that you've got to have an open mind. There are people everywhere that you can learn from. That could be a friend, that could be someone at your place of worship, it could be someone at your school.
Glenn recognized early on that everyone has something to offer and you could learn from everyone. And day by day, those experiences compounded, adding to what would eventually become his entrepreneurial toolbox. After high school, Glenn's heart and mind were set on pursuing 2 very specific and very challenging goals.
There were 2 dreams that I wanted to accomplish as a young person. I wanted to fly, and the other piece was I wanted to play Division I basketball. And that landed me at the Air Force Academy, which really gave me the opportunity to do both, to go and serve in the military, to fly airplanes, as well as to play Division I college basketball. And so it was that integration of all of those pieces that led to my service. And it was those dreams that I kind of spoke about a little bit earlier that led me to this point.
Glenn will be the first to admit that while he wasn't necessarily pro basketball material, he was a star in his own right. But being good or even great at something doesn't automatically equate to success.
Unfortunately, while I was there, we lost a lot of games. And as the team captain, the last thing that you want to do is lead a team into a loss after loss. But I did learn to persevere through it. I learned how to lose gracefully. And it makes you a better winner when that opportunity comes about.
After his time at the Air Force Academy came to an end, Glenn's active duty military service began. Flying jets, leading teams, being part of the tightly knit community that is the U.S. military, it was an experience like none other.
There are so many different lessons that you learn in the military. I think one of the greatest things that I learned flying airplanes is there really is no limit to what is possible in life. And when you grow up with 2 blue-collar parents and you find yourself flying a fighter and firing a missile from a fighter, what's real and possible is pretty expansive. I learned a great deal about leadership and followership. I learned how I wanted to lead, and I learned what people responded to.
It was those mindsets, perseverance, being open to and ready for all opportunities, and leadership that sculpted Glenn's personal and professional outlook. After 10 years of active service, Glenn and his wife, also an Air Force Academy graduate and military veteran, knew that it was time for their family to blaze a new trail.
My wife and I have a saying that when you know your values, your decisions are easy. And in value of my family, when it was time to make a decision, do I stay in the Air Force or transition out? When I transitioned out in support for my family and for that purpose, I fell in love with the business of aviation and enjoyed the conversations on the ground more than I did while flying. I heard the same thing time and time again. I recognized a gap in the marketplace that was completely and totally underserved. And then I put my fighter pilot hat on. I built a strategy according to all of the other competition that was out there, the known competition, the potentially unknown competition that could come about, and put on my business school hat and an MBA hat, and I realized, how do we make money doing this, and how do we do so competitively?
It was the aha moment every entrepreneur is familiar with, one that brought together Glenn's passions for aviation, business, and people.
It started with studying everyone else in the industry, and both commercial as well as the private aviation space. What worked, what doesn't work, what do companies like, what don't they like? And at the end of the day, though, it's all about what is it that the customer wants and needs. And in talking to the customer, they wanted safe, reliable, high-touch service that's customized for their needs. How do you provide someone who has access and the ability to afford anything with an exceptional experience?
It was a hard question, and one that Glenn was determined to answer. After the break, Glenn talks about Jedit's philosophy of exceptional service, why the right team is a huge part of the company's success, and why his vision for the future is one of organic scale.
It takes a lot to grow a business, but one thing's for certain. You've got to have a laser focus on the customer. That's why we use Salesforce Essentials at Mission every day. With Essentials, your small business has access to the same CRM tools driving results for some of the most successful companies on earth. Think Adidas, Amazon, T-Mobile, Toyota, Intuit, Marriott, and tens of thousands more. Track your business health by measuring sales, emails, customer satisfaction, and custom metrics. Go to getessentials.com/thejourney to start your free 90-day trial today.
At the top of this episode, Glenn shared with us that for Jedit, the first step toward success is safety. The second step is happiness. Many companies can operate jets and provide private travel, but what sets Jedit apart is its genuine care that you enjoy every leg of the experience. Everyone who works at Jedit, from top to bottom, genuinely cares about the passengers on their planes. For the Jedit employees, their jobs are not just about making a transaction, it's about building and nurturing relationships.
We had one of our owners call us in a late hour, and he needed to get to see his mom, who was not doing well. We dispatched a flight. We made sure that it was legal and safe for us to do, but we dispatched the flight to him, and we had him flying within hours of the original call. Again, being empathetic and thoughtful about what it is that other people want and need, and that's where service begins. After that, if you understand what the needs are, then it's a function of how do we execute to make sure that that need is met.
But even with clear values and passion driving the company, running Jedit is not always easy. Sometimes it takes pure perseverance to keep going.
There are always challenges. Typically for us, it's been around the things that we are unable to control. I think I can speak for any entrepreneur. You feel like you are in the middle of the ocean at night and you're treading water, and you have no idea when and where you will reach the shore, or if help is coming, or even when the sun is rising. But you do know that you have to keep swimming, floating, whatever you have to do to stay alive. You have to persevere. When it comes to the wins that we've had, every single flight that we conduct and someone walks off safely is a win. The biggest win internally for our company, for me, is the exceptional team members that we have. We have people from all walks of in industries and cultures and backgrounds. And I'm so proud of the tremendously talented individuals that we've been able to recruit and the culture that we've been able to maintain to help retain those individuals.
The only way to deliver an excellent customer experience is to have a great team executing behind the scenes. It takes passionate, hardworking employees, and Glenn takes pride in how he and the company he has built has attracted the type of team that both works incredibly hard and truly does care.
One of the things we enjoy about bringing people onto our team is understanding their backgrounds and experience. And what we found is if an individual is a former athlete at a fairly high level, if they're a musician of some sort, they understand the work ethic, the discipline, the perseverance necessary. Veterans are a key part of that as well. I'm so proud of the fact that we have, I believe it's now 19 veterans in our over 50 employees. I'm so blessed as a company, or so fortunate to have these incredible individuals who've served our country, supporting our growth.
So what qualities exactly is Glenn hiring for? He looks for what he calls the 5 C's: competency, courage, communication, commitment, and capacity.
We work really hard to find highly talented people. In that hiring process, there are a couple of things that we are looking for. We're looking for people who are, of course, competent. Are they technically competent for the role that you're applying them to? The other pieces that we're looking for, we want to make sure that individuals are courageous. We want to make sure that they're highly communicative, that they are collaborators, that they have a commitment towards what we're doing, and that they're willing to expand their capacity. What is their capacity to grow? Those 5 C's, if you will, are what we're listening for in a conversation to understand if someone's a good fit for our culture.
But delivering a great customer experience isn't only about what employees you hire. Glenn has also found that you have to empower your employees with highly effective systems.
Our COO is of the mindset, Glenn, we have to make sure that it doesn't matter who's in the position, that our process maintains our structure in our organization. And he's brought so much discipline and organization to us from a business standpoint so we can keep up with every detail as they're happening. There's all kinds of software that we can utilize from a sales standpoint. We utilize Salesforce.com and Pardot from a marketing aspect. From a operational standpoint, we use a program called Flex to help our crew members stay together and engage with our clients. But at the end of the day, the thing that drives it all is passion. We have to be committed and passionate about succeeding one day at a time.
And there is no better word to describe Glenn than deeply and fiercely passionate for aviation, for business, and for his employees and customers.
I'll never forget my first squadron commander as I was completing pilot training, Bodine Ellis. He handed me my wings and said, Glenn, these wings are in your family and in your life forever. No one can ever take them from you. And I didn't fully understand what it meant, but when you are in aviation, whether your family follows behind you in aviation, it's the mentality and the approach towards life, the perspective of life that changes. My co-founder and I talk about we're an aviation company run by aviators, which typically you don't find. You find people in finance or tech that move into aviation, but we have, I think, captured a lot of attention because we brought that perspective back to the industry, that passion for aviation, that love the industry. And that's what bleeds through all of our communications. It's that passion that we approach the world with, and that's who we are, and that's who we'll continue to be.
So what does tomorrow hold? The possibilities are endless, but they all start with focusing on the customer, one flight at a time.
As far as our growth is concerned, we want to make sure that we establish our brand, communicate the service, and then execute. If we are focused on those 3 steps, the market will determine how big we can grow as a company. If we're operating safely and our customers are happy, once our brand is established and we're able to communicate our service because it is such a tremendous value, all of those things together will help us grow.
Bessie Sanders once said, service, in short, is not what you do, but who you are. It's a way of living that you need to bring to everything you do if you're to bring it to your customer interactions. Glenn has put service and passion into everything that he has done, starting from his earliest days as a young athlete leading his team through to his time serving the country he loves. Today, he's leading a different team and serving a different group of people with his company Jedit. But throughout his journey, he has kept his eyes on the highest of bars, knowing he could meet and exceed them with hard work and dedication, and with a mindset that every small win has the chance to compound and build into something much bigger.
Succeeding as a startup, solo founder, or any small business is an uphill battle. It takes the right mindset and the right tools. That's why we're thrilled to partner with Salesforce Essentials to bring you the journey. Managing one podcast, let alone a whole media studio, is a challenge to say the least. But Essentials makes it easy to maintain relationships and grow our business. With Essentials, your startup has access to the same CRM driving insights and results for the most successful companies in the world. Use unrivaled Salesforce technology to track customers, sales, emails, and more. You'll know where your business is and where it's headed as you chart the path for your journey. We love using Essentials, and we know you will too. Go to getessentials.com/thejourney to start your free 90-day trial today.